How's it going, guys? And welcome to a review of Fear Factory Aggression Continuum. So this is an album that had quite a wild ride. If you're a fan of Fear Factory, then you know that this is normally how it goes. This is pretty standard. This is a very controversial band in the way that they do things, their business practices. And I never really knew how much controversy there really was. Like, I always knew that there was controversy in Fear Factory, but not at the level that there is until I started doing some research and also being friends with the former bassist and former guitarist for Fear Factory, Christian Old Walbers, who's not in the band anymore. He's off doing other projects. But man, Fear Factory is a fucked up band. They have so many different things involving their history with arguments and creative differences. And just to, put it mildly, we have my favorite album from theirs where Christian was the guitarist. And I think he had better ideas than the current and only remaining member of Fear Factory right now is Dino Cazares. Now Dino is the original guitarist for Fear Factory, so the guy is talented, but I don't like him as far as his politics go, and really, like, as a person, he seems like a really shitty person because he's the only person left here. The original drummer left. The bassist left, as I just said, and now the lead vocalist is gone, Burden C. Bell. And, here's the funny thing. After doing, research and really looking into these people, Burden C. Bell and Dino are SJWs. This is something that's been very disappointing because in, the current political landscape, I didn't realize just, how the content of the character of some of these people and how it affects how they live their life. I have to tell you something. It has a lot to do with that at times, because when your mindset kind of gets warped, you start making really stupid decisions and arguments start flowing. And, I can clearly see that people like Christian are not SJWs in the least bit. I follow this guy on Instagram. He's a pretty awesome human being. Like I said, he even took time to actually, talk when I would make posts about Fear Factory. I don't make as many music posts as I used to. I mostly kind of do them on my Instagram story now. I've kind of gotten back into that. But it was really interesting to see how there was a lot of bad label deals. Actually, the albums that Christian, the bassist, worked on when he was the guitarist, they actually can't re-release those albums. Those albums now are lost to time because there was a major lawsuit. Some really underhanded shit went down, and now they can't re-release them because they're there was criminal charges brought up against the record company, which was Liquid 8 Records. So if you've never listened to Archetype, go look it up here on YouTube or go buy the actual CD off of eBay or Amazon, because it's well worth your time. It is an awesome album. Not everyone likes that album, but I think that there is just some incredible songs on that album, some incredible musicianship on there, songwriting, riffs. I think it's some of the best. So, Fear Factory has had some gaps in their music, and the biggest one being their last album that they did with Liquid 8 Records, that being Transgression, which is also an album that a lot of people didn't like. There's an abundance of cover songs that actually I really like on there, but a lot of people don't like it. It wasn't their style. Whatever. People are entitled to their opinions. Music is purely subjective. I don't look down on people if they don't like an album that I like, because I'm not a metal elitist like a lot of people. And I've done a few videos on that. My metalheads suck video, because they do suck. They demean people. They're people that, you know, they're on the internet, and if they don't like the album that you like, you know, you're a poser, you're this and that. It's so tiresome, and it's so contrived, that type of behavior. I'm so done with that, and like talking, you know, about music with people. And it was so clear that when I did the review on the last Killswitch Engage album, when I said that, you know, I happen to really like Howard Jones as the vocalist, and when he did a guest appearance on that album, I said that pretty much cemented just how much better Howard Jones is than Jesse Leach as the lead singer of Killswitch Engage. And people came on my video. I made a mistake on that video, by the way, where, you know, I said that Howard had the wrong condition. I misspoke in that video, and, you know, whatever the case may be, people just fucking flamed the shit out of that video. And it wasn't so much that I misspoke, but people took advantage of that to show, like, I didn't know about the band because I said the wrong condition. When really the main point was supposed to be that Howard is better than Jesse Leach. But people said, like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Jesse is the original vocalist. Okay, he's the original vocalist, but that doesn't mean anything. That just because you're the original vocalist doesn't mean that you're better. In Flames had a different vocalist when they started off. Does that mean that that vocalist is better than their current vocalist? No, it doesn't. But, you know, this argument is just stupid. And of course, because Jesse's been back for quite a few years now, people have now re-cemented into the fact that they believe that Jesse is the superior vocalist. But whatever, we're not talking about Killswitch Engage. It's just an example. So we're back to the current day of Fear Factory. So the last album that they released was Genexis. And as I said before, there was a big gap when there came to being the Liquid 8 Records deal falling through. And there was a gap there from 2005 up into 2010 when they released Mechanize. And Christian did not come over because there was some controversy, and it had a lot to do with their manager, which happened to be Christian Old Walber's wife. And there was a lot of unreasonable demands, and to me it seems like Burden has a very big ego, and Dino Cazares has an even bigger ego. You know, refusing to play riffs. Also, another thing that led to Christian leaving the band was Burden C. Bell refusing to do a more aggressive vocal style, which he started doing on Transgression, and it sounded good, but he refused to, like, go full force on the next album. And Transgression was supposed to be that album. There was supposed to be more aggression on there. There was supposed to be blast beats. And, you know, whether or not you think that that style of music is good, that's up to you. But whatever the case may be, you know, it couldn't be worked out. And come Mechanize, not only was Christian gone, but the drummer was gone too. So they were without a guitarist, and now Dino came back, and it was supposed to be a whole reunion, but no, because it just, no one could agree on what they wanted to do. So Genexis came around years later. That was a good album. The albums without Christian on, don't get me wrong, they were really good. I'm a Fear Factory fan. I'm not just a Christian Old Walber's fan. I just kind of prefer his musicianship to Dino's. I kind of just confirmed that with Archetype. I just like the way he sounds a little bit better as guitarist. I just think there's just a quality there that Dino does not have. And we could break that down in a different video because it would take far too long for me to really describe it. We'd have to break it down by the riffs, break it down to just, you know, how I feel when listening to those riffs coming out of Christian's guitar as opposed to Dino's. But anyway, Genexis came and went, and in 2016 there was talks of a Fear Factory reunion. We were going to finally have the original drummer coming back. We were going to have the original bassist coming back in Christian Obwalters. We were going to have Dino as the guitarist. We were going to have Burton C. Bell on guitars. So we were going to have all the original members of this band all in their respective spots. And it seemed like it was going to be something phenomenal. But, you know, there was some things like Tony Campos from Static X ended up being their bassist, which made me extremely fucking happy. I was like, another one of my favorite bands. You know, Tony Campos is a great bassist. But whatever. Everyone ended up leaving the band over the years. They couldn't come to an agreement. And Fear Factory kind of just died. And there was very mixed reports on this. A lot of different things. We saw Dino working on different projects. Burton C. Bell was working on different projects. And it was just a mess of information. And when it comes to music, when looking for information on a new album, you might as well stick your head in the ground and it will probably produce the same results. Because I don't know if it's the reporting or if some of these interviews are phony or whatever the case may be. It's almost impossible to figure out what the hell's going on with new music. It shouldn't be that way, but you know, people look for clicks here on the internet, so they're going to come up with false stories. They're going to do all sorts of things to try to get people to click on their articles. But I think some of it's kind of true because it's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes they don't even know what's going on. So around like 2019 or so, we got an announcement that there was going to be a new Fear Factory album. Well, it's 4 years later, so that's great. And it turned out that the new album was supposed to be called Monolith. This was like confirmed, but then Dino Cazares said there was not going to be a new album, that wasn't true. But then it turned out that we had Burton C. Bell leaving the fucking band. Yes, the lead vocalist, the guy who had been there from the beginning, the guy who pretty much, it's his band pretty much, you know, him and Dino's band, he left. He was gone in 2020. I was like, oh shit, there we go. So you could pretty much say that Genexis is going to be the last album from them. But so I was like, but there's got to be some music from this Monolith thing, unless it wasn't true. But you know, like, they were still technically together all these years. So, like, wasn't there some type of recorded music? Well, it turns out for some reason there was. And it was Aggression Continuum. So, at the beginning... So, this was in 2020, by the way, where Dino said that he had left the band and that there was no Monolith. But it turns out that it was completely false, because we come to 2021 and we find out that there's a song on Aggression Continuum called Monolith. So that's not a coincidence. There definitely was something there. So in 2021, to my surprise, we find out that there's a new song by the name of Disruptor, and it's got a music video, and Dino Cazares is now basically the only surviving member, for lack of a better term, of this band that has been through so much. It's quite clear that this very well could be the last Fear Factory album, because, I mean, the politics, the controversy, the backstabbing, I mean, it's just, it goes beyond almost any other band from what I've seen. It's probably one of the most confusing timelines in history I've ever seen, with so much back and forth, so many band members leaving, and now the vocalist just taking a hike. And you have no one. This album, yeah, you had Dino, and you had Burton C. Bell. And okay, like, you know, that had been the original members for quite some time. You know, but no Tony Campos. Dino is doing bass on this album. So now that we've done a little bit of history, let's talk about this album. So Disruptor was the first song to be released as a single, and we were treated to this in April, and this is a fantastic song. I'm just going to come out right here and say it. This is a great album. This is a fantastic album. This is an album that I'm going to be listening to continuously for the months coming. This first song was great, and then the next song that came out in May, I believe, was Fuel Injected Suicide Machine. And this is another tremendous song that came out, just really aggressive, just completely classic in every way to the sound of Fear Factory. And one of the other great songs on here is the way that the album kicks off Recode, which just has those chilling, chill up your spine inducing vocals, those clean vocals from Burden C. Bell that he's known for in the opening track, Recode. What a fantastic song this is to kick things off. And the way that they end things as well with End of Line. I don't know why they didn't call it End of the Line, but End of Line. This is a song that, if this is going to be the last Fear Factory album, this is so chilling, because this is a song, well, this is something that's very common on most Fear Factory. There's usually a final track, and then there's about 2 or 3 minutes of just ambiance, and it's just great. It's just, you got to listen to it. You would think, like, okay, this is the boring part of the track. There is always just a quality to these tracks that when they fizzle out. Now, Genexis did a fantastic job with this, with Expiration Date. They didn't do a very good job with it on the Industrialist. That one was a little bit too much of ambiance, where there was not really a lot going on. But it reminded me of Final Exit on Mechanize and Expiration Date on Genexis. Those two final tracks are ways that you end an album. And they brought that quality with End of Line. You just have some really aggressive riffs in the beginning, some great, you've got aggressive vocals, and you got clean vocals switching over, showing the range of Burden. And then you just, like I said, the track just fizzles out at the end. And it's just an amazing album. You have other great songs on here that, they're going to add to the replayability of this album. You've got Purity, you've got Manufactured Hope, you've got Cognitive Dissonance. But that opening track right there, and even the song Monolith is another great song. Really, when I listen to Monolith, I'm going to also remember just how confusing and disappointing that this band has been, because, like, we're told there's no album called Monolith. No. It's unless that interview was fake, but I don't know. It was pretty widely circulated, and we were told basically, like, you're not going to get a new Fear Factory album. We're having too many problems. There's not going to be a new album. And the most hilarious thing, which I didn't mention yet, is that Dino found out about Burden leaving the band from social media. No, he wasn't contacted. No one on the record label even said anything to him, which it shows you in 2021, just social media and people, like, we're talking about Burden C. Bell. This is an older, mature vocalist who's been in this business now for over 30 years. This guy has this band for 3 decades, over 3 decades. And he's known Dino for just as long. And for some reason, they just decide to, just break up, but they don't even break up in the traditional sense. It's one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen. And like I said, it shows the mindsets of these people. You see them, they're always complaining. Burden is, like, always blaming the country for something. And, I get it. This has been something, like, if you're going to be a fan of metal or rock or anything. You have to understand that, like, you've got SJWs in this business. You've got a lot of people that just have these just totally outrageous opinions that you're not going to agree with. And you just have to focus on the musicianship. You have to focus on, you know, just how talented these people are. But sometimes the content of their character is just so disappointing. And it's kind of a little bit to the adage of never meet your heroes. Well, you don't have to meet them nowadays because you meet them digitally. And I really like what I see in Christian Oldwaters. I think that he seems to be a stand-up guy. But everyone else in Fear Factory, you know, the current members are now the current member. Very disappointing. So now Dino's just kind of left there standing there, you know, with a brand name that now he owns, because now he owns it. He's the sole proprietor of Fear Factory. And he's got no one else really left. He did the bass on here. They got a different drummer. But, you know, unless he can find a new vocalist, which, you know, who is going to replace Burton C. Bell? We have seen this on the number of occasions that they go for a new vocalist, and we already know it's not going to work out. You're not going to find someone with the quality vocals of Burton C. Bell that understands the music, who understands the vision for the band that he created. Now, I understand Dino's got the riffs down and they need someone just to sing over it, but it's really not that simple. It's oversimplifying it by even saying that. So there you go, guys. It's a great album, but it's a sad possible end to a great band. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. If you'd like to see more album reviews here on the channel, let me know down in the comments down below. I'd be happy to oblige you. Oh, yeah, sir. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post on my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.